The Kinahan Organized Crime Group (KOCG), commonly referred to as the Kinahan Cartel, is a significant Irish transnational organized crime organization that is thought to be the most powerful in Ireland and one of the biggest in the world. Their latest hideout is being shielded by corrupt politicians in the cartel's African bolt hole, it has been claimed. Also established there are the United Arab Emirates, Spain, and the United Kingdom. Christy Kinahan started it in the 1990s. Daniel, his eldest son, is in charge of running the family's criminal organization on a daily basis. Christy Kinahan enjoyed a comfortable middle-class upbringing, was spoiled and adored by his family, and educated at one of the best schools in Ireland. He entered adulthood as a man with options, and he chose a life of a crime. Throughout the 1980s and 1990s, he was a relatively minor Dublin criminal who was in and out of prison for a series of drug offenses and fraud. Some prisoners used their time behind bars to turn their life around, and Kinahan appeared to be doing the same. The career criminal enrolled on college courses, and by the time he completed his last sentence in 2001, he was fluent in both Dutch and Spanish. He was now in his early 40s and would use those skills to carve out a highly successful career as a businessman, but perhaps not in the way the authorities would have hoped. According to estimates, they may be worth up to €1 billion. In 2016, an assassination attempt on Daniel Kinahan, now in his mid-40s, sparked a bloody feud with Ireland's notorious Hutch family that left 18 people dead. The majority of the murders took place in Dublin, and most were carried out by hitmen linked to the Kinahan Cartel. The Dapper Don, as he became known, allegedly groomed his sons Daniel and Christy Jr. to become fellow leaders of the enterprise as its cocaine, heroin, and gun trafficking operations stretched across South America, Europe, and the Middle East. If Kinahan and his two sons are next to face a judge, it will be welcome news for many of the ordinary people in Dublin who believe the men are largely responsible for the drugs that have flowed into communities and the gangland assassinations on the streets. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, during Ireland's Celtic Tiger period of rapid economic growth, Christy Kinahan founded the Kinahan Organized Crime Group. Kinahan, a native of Dublin, was first convicted of crimes including housebreaking, car theft, burglary, handling stolen goods, and forgery in the late 1970s. According to reports, the organization started out as a street gang of Dublin's inner-city heroin traffickers, but it quickly expanded globally to become the multi-million-dollar criminal organization it is today. Prior to Daniel Kinahan taking over as direct leader of the organization, Christy Kinahan held the post. Since then, Irish courts have determined that the gang is a deadly organization engaged in the trafficking of human beings around the world. Christy Kinahan is reportedly spending an increasing amount of time in Zimbabwe as he seeks to evade a massive international manhunt for him and his criminal sons Daniel, 43, and Christopher Jr., 41. It had been known that Kinahan, 66, used the southern African nation as a base for his international business endeavors. Kinahan founded the €1 billion cocaine cartel that carries his name, which is currently managed on a daily basis by his son Daniel. Yet according to a Zimbabwean media inquiry, he now spends the majority of his time there. According to an investigation by the reputable Zimbabwe Independent, Kinahan and a significant partner have local politicians in their back pocket. According to a security source cited by the newspaper, Kinahan is supposedly being safeguarded in Zimbabwe by an identified associate, a businessman with purported ties to influential political people in the nation. The mobster and his colleagues spent years building relationships with Zimbabwean leaders because of a fear that Dubai was becoming too hazardous for them. The newspaper continued. All of the Kinahans, who are the targets of a $5 million bounty from U.S. authorities for their capture as part of an international campaign led by the Ghana, have long used Dubai as a base. But since the money was promised for their takedown in April of last year, they have come under increasing pressure there. According to the Zimbabwe Independent, Kinahan and his companion worked on their African escape strategy for years. According to the statement, the two formed an association between 2015 and 2017, when Kinahan was looking for a base outside of Dubai as local and foreign law enforcement agencies increased their pressure on him. Also, according to the tabloid, it has copies of WhatsApp communications in which Kinahan's accomplice threatens to bring down the cartel if others don't cooperate. According to the report's conclusion, WhatsApp messages seen by this publication show that the associate was also free to threaten people with Kinahan and his son Daniel's intervention should they choose to cross his path. Additionally, it asserts that Zimbabwe intelligence agents have been dissatisfied with his presence since 2020 and are aware of his activities. State security authorities have reportedly been keeping an eye on the situation since 2020 and have expressed concern over Kinahan's stay in Zimbabwe. It also claims Kinahan has an office in capital Harare in the associate's name as well as access to a luxury 3-bedroom townhouse during visits to Zimbabwe. And it also alleges the cartel keeps a fleet of luxury cars. The report says the Independent is reliably informed a fleet of high-end vehicles were available for Kinahan, his family, and a stream of guests from the UAE, Turkey, Spain, Ireland, and Iran, among others. There are strong indications that one of the vehicles, a Mercedes-Benz ML63, has been the subject of a separate police investigation. In the wake of these astonishing revelations, the Independent is informed that certain Zimbabwean officials had been turning a blind eye to Kinahan's travels in and out of Zimbabwe despite being sought by international authorities. Reports last year indicated Kinahan planned to start a new life in Zimbabwe with his long-term partner and their children. Moreover, the FBI's most wanted criminal desired to purchase from the Egyptian Air Force a fleet of at least 9 aircraft to carry drugs throughout Africa. The Dapper Don, the Kinahan Cartel's creator, attempted to obtain a marriage license in Zimbabwe in order to establish a permanent hideout there. He intended to go there with his 3 children and his long-term companion, a 40-year-old Dutch woman. He established at least one company in the construction industry under the guise of Christopher Vincent, pretending to be a respectable businessman who would have qualified for a 12-month visa. US puts up $5 million reward. For the people of Ireland, the name Kinahan is synonymous with drugs, gun smuggling, and murder, but the family themselves have enjoyed an air of invincibility, as investigators have failed to bring them in to face charges. Or at least they did until recently. Before the world's greatest superpower set its sights on the cartel with the aim of delivering a knockout blow. In April 2022, the US government put up a $5 million, £3.8 million reward for information leading to the arrest or conviction of Kinahan or his 2 sons. The US Treasury also said the Irish mob has joined the ranks of the Camorra, an Italian mafia organization, as they imposed sanctions on the cartel in much the same way they have Russian oligarchs over the war in Ukraine. The move came after an operation involving Irish police and the UK's National Crime Agency, and is one of a number of developments that suggests the net is finally tightening around the Kinahan empire, because they allegedly direct the cartel's operations from Dubai. A beautiful cityscape conceals a seedy underworld of foreign criminals, operating unhindered by the police. The Kinahans have never appeared in an Irish court in connection with the cartel. Any attempts to extradite the Kinahans to Ireland or Dubai have been unsuccessful because these countries do not have an extradition agreement. Daniel Kinahan, who is accused of taking over the cartel's daily operations in recent years, has even been allowed to pursue a legal career in professional boxing, with his former business MTK Global managing well-known fighters like Tyson Fury. That's it for this video. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell for more updates.